What's going on, guys? My name is Chantze Duckworth, and we're here at City Hall in the city of New Orleans, and I'm here with the new mayor-elect here in New Orleans.
Hi, I'm Helena Moreno.
So Helena Moreno, Mayor-elect Moreno, sorry. How are you feeling this morning? I know you've been having a pretty busy schedule, but we finally did it. It's been a month in the making, but I'm immensely blessed to be here. How are you feeling?
I'm good, Chance. You know, it's been, ever since I got elected about a week and a half ago, it's been nonstop.
Right.
And obviously working on putting my transition team together that's going to help me that on day one, when I take office, I'll be ready to take on that role. And so just a lot of work. You know, we also are dealing with some budget issues here in the city of New Orleans, so working through those as well. Very busy, but super excited and just really thriving on this work.
Right. You still do have to focus on, your council at large, and you still do your transition. And then in January, you're going to be the new mayor of New Orleans.
Yes,
right?
yes.
First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
So I just kind of want to know, how did it feel hearing those first words, Mayor-elect Moreno, knowing that, went through your mind, knowing that you secured 55% of the votes for the election?
Wow. Well, I'll say this, obviously, and I was over at St. Nog for a forum that you all had, and that's where we met. And, there was a lot of work throughout the campaign, and I knew we were getting a really positive reception, but, you never really know what's going to happen on election day. So I just always told my team, just work hard, focus on the finish line. And, we were prepared for whatever would happen that night, whether we would, potentially win, whether we would go to a runoff. And I was just overwhelmed to see by the amount that we ended up, taking the victory on Saturday night. I think it just goes to show that the people of the city are really looking for change and a new direction. And that's what I'll work hard every day to provide.
Right. And it is what your campaign was mostly about: change, a new direction, just a new and better New Orleans, right? And like we do know, you do take office at the top of the year, January 12th.
Yes.
How do you envision success in your first year leading the city of New Orleans?
Yeah, so what we're working on right now, and I'm blessed to be part of the city council now so I can have a direct impact on this, is really starting to stabilize our finances. From what we've seen, with the legislative auditor coming in and taking a look at what's happened with the city budget, appears to have been some mismanagement of funds and just a lot of excessive spending. So really getting the budget right-sized is something that I'm working on now, so that on day one, I'm able to deliver on the people's priorities. And so ultimately what we heard, as Chance, throughout the campaign, is that people wanted their essential services to be right. And so that means, making sure that we do have proper sanitation services, that we do have our lights that stay on, that we do have a street maintenance program. And so that's going to be my real focus getting into office within those first 100 days, is to how do I ensure that, that I do have a budget that's going to meet those basic city services, and how do I make sure that those basic city services are delivered at the best possible way for the people of the city. And then at the same time, Chance, we do have some very broken city departments, including safety and permits.
Right.
So bringing in the right experts to come in so that we can start really revamping and enhancing the departments that have been failing for quite some time.
All right, and like you did say, you mentioned having the people's best interests.
Yeah.
And you do know, as the leader of a city, people look for someone they can seek to, they can count on and believe. And can you share those ideas that you plan to deliver?
Sure. So as I mentioned before, making sure that the people's priorities, as we talked about before, on the basic services are met. But also remember, and you probably hear this from your friends and also from your parents, is that people are really looking for a city that has a lot more opportunity.
Right.
And so working with my economic development team to ensure that we're enhancing opportunity across the board and not just focusing on the regular stuff that economic development has looked at, like big real estate deals and things like that. But how can my team really assist the small businesses here in the city of New Orleans? How can we start leaning in and really helping those young entrepreneurs with new ideas and connect them to capital so that their ideas can turn into multi-million-dollar industries? How can we ensure that our leaders, our young leaders, like you all, when you go to school, when you go to college, that you come back to the city of New Orleans? How do we ensure that there's this connection between our local universities and the workforce to keep people here? So those are the other pieces too that are so critical that I have to focus on. And I'm really looking forward to it because ultimately, even if you look at different parts of town that have been ignored, like New Orleans East, there's so much opportunity. And it's just really about having the right direct focus on these areas to really capture all of it.
Right. And you did mention New Orleans East. I am a resident of New Orleans East. And so much opportunity there is the biggest part of the city.
Yes.
Is there anything that comes to mind that you plan to do?
So really a few things dealing with New Orleans East. One, as you're probably familiar, and if not, do a little Google search on this, but there's a major port terminal coming into St. Bernard. And so this port terminal really provides a lot of opportunity for New Orleans East to have a lot of support businesses for the port terminal. And already we have Slidell who's trying to, recruit all these businesses. We need to be recruiting right now for that same level of industry. But at the same time, you've seen businesses leave New Orleans East, whether it's New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood or other businesses that have left. There has to be a real focus on making sure that small businesses in that area have what they need to keep them there. And also we need to figure out a path to recruit more. We constantly hear that there's an additional need for retail. So my focus will be, first and foremost, is making sure that we get another grocery store in New Orleans East. And so that part for me within my 100 days will be part of my plan on moving forward initiatives to make sure we finally get a grocery store in New Orleans East. But aside from the economic piece, Chance, we really have to look at the New Orleans East Hospital and ways to support New Orleans East Hospital. And so I'm working closely with Dr. Davis at New Orleans East Hospital as to how the city of New Orleans can be a better partner to that hospital, because it is such a critical piece to public health in New Orleans East, to ensuring that emergency services are in New Orleans East, and we have to do whatever possible to enhance the services there as well.
Right. And I just do want to put my 2 cents in about the New Orleans East Hospital. Some people, that's not their first option, and then it's kind of not right because that's where they live, so you have to go to main campus. So I do agree with making New Orleans East Hospital better, and just, that opportunity that you did talk about.
Yeah.
And we do know that the youth is the city of our future. And how will your administration involve youth while making them feel as they are part of the movement?
Well, I think this is an example of that, making sure that that I'm accessible and that we always have this table that's set that allows for voices of our young people to be part of. Ultimately, you guys need to tell me how I really need to shape NORD to ensure that it has the types of different opportunities and activities that you all want. Because look, I'm no longer a kid in high school, okay? So what I used to like in high school may not be what you guys are really appreciating in high school. Like, for example, all the new things that we're pushing forward with when it comes to gaming, like, oh my gosh. I mean, I tried to go and go to one of the gaming pods over at Milne. I lost. I was trying to build a city. I was trying to build a city. I forgot what the game was. And there was this crazy chicken, and the chicken kept trying to run away from, I don't know.
Probably mine.
Yes, that's what it was. And so you all, that's what you love. That's what you thrive on, or provide that for you all. And you all need to guide me as to what you all feel you need and how you want to be supported. One of the things that I do hear often, and this is from our young ladies, is that there's not enough for young ladies. And so even things that ordinarily girls wouldn't be a part of, now they really want to be a part of, including boxing. And I talked a little bit about that when I was at the forum at St. Aug. But, just hearing from young people as to what you need, what you want to see to feel supported is going to be really important to me.
Right, and we do know that public safety has been kind of a key issue in the city of New Orleans. How will you balance accountability, prevention, and rebuilding trust between police and the community, and especially young residents like myself?
So, when it comes to public safety, there's really 2 parts. One, it has to be all about, prevention. So investing in prevention, obviously revamping NORD, creating as many opportunities for our youth, and also really focusing in on issues like reentry services for individuals coming back into our community, and making sure that there's opportunities for transportation, housing, employment. All of those things are really important. And the City Council has been really leaning in on making these types of investments. We have a $7 million a year recreation and culture fund, where we provide grants to nonprofits who are already doing the work. So instead of the city trying to create these new programs, it's really about boosting the programs out in the city already doing the work, and nonprofits already getting results. And then the other piece too is on the public safety part, dealing with the police department. As you probably read in the news, recruitment for police officers is difficult across the country, and certainly right here in New Orleans too. We've been stuck at roughly like 940, 941 NOPD officers, including recruits. But if, recruiting police officers is difficult, then what can we do to ensure that we still have the right level of coverage? And one of the ways that we've been doing that is we've been hiring trained professionals. So not police officers, but trained professionals who can do some of the work that NOPD officers don't need to be doing. For example, if you get your bike stolen from your garage overnight, you don't need a commissioned police officer to spend a couple hours with you taking a police report.
They have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, exactly. They have bigger fish to fry. So you can get one of these trained professionals, take the report, get all your information, and then ultimately an NOPD officer can sign off on it. But that frees up our commissioned police officers to be out really dealing with the major issues, the emergencies, the violent crime, and working to prevent those as well.
Right. Okay, let's kind of talk about the growth and culture of New Orleans. We do know that New Orleans kind of has that vibrant culture. How do you plan to grow economically without losing that original and local flavor?
So let me say this. Without our culture, without our people, New Orleans is nothing.
Right.
And so what I've always said is that this is the area that most needs to be supported. And it starts with us as a city really putting value on our artists, on our musicians, and it starts with making sure that they're paid what they're worth. And so one of the things that I did while on the city council is really start to set the tone of we shouldn't have starving artists and musicians here in the city of New Orleans. And so we did something that's similar to what the city of Austin did and said if the city of New Orleans, like city government, is ever going to hire a musician, they have to pay them and each member of their band $200 an hour with a 3-hour minimum. So that we could start to set the tone that this is the expectation kind of widespread throughout the city of New Orleans. Now, what has not happened is that there hasn't been this level of outreach or marketing to say, this is what is expected in the city of New Orleans. If you're having a wedding, a birthday party, whatever you're having, that we expect you to pay our musicians. So first is making sure that they're being paid what they're worth. But then at the same time, I am not an expert in the music industry. And so what I've always said when I've had PJ Morton and others come to me, like, what are you going to do to really create another type of opportunity city like a Nashville, LA, New York, where we don't have to have our artists move to another city to really make it big. I looked at PJ and I said, you tell me what I need to do as a city. What needs to be done as a city to ensure that we create this business type of atmosphere within the city of New Orleans so that our Robin Barnes of the world, Don Richard already made it big, but others, on that they can stay right here and make it big, and also grow opportunities that are for people who can't play an instrument like me, who want to be behind the scenes and want to be those production folks who want to be the entertainment lawyers who can have a place right here growing the industry. And so what I mean by all of that is much of what I'll build around culture, around music, arts, and food will be based on the recommendations of those who are in those industries right now. I'm not an expert in these things. I don't know, all of the aspects of how to grow these industries, but I'll get recommendations from those who are in the know so that we can transform our city into one creating more opportunities around our culture.
Right, and one thing I did love about your campaign is when you did musicians for
yeah,
that was great. Brought out some musicians for your campaign season, which was great. And we do know that your economic plan was something that you talked about during your campaign, and it has been discussed for a while. What tangible changes can residents actually expect to see from it?
Yeah, I think one tangible change is that you'll see really a revamp of the Economic Development Office, where it won't just solely be focused on kind of those big real estate deals downtown, which traditionally is what has been kind of the role of economic development, and to really start focusing in on a lot of different sectors, as I mentioned before. So making sure that we're looking at underserved communities like New Orleans East, that we have a team focused on just New Orleans East, that we have a team focused in on our small businesses and making sure that small businesses are getting kind of that concierge service that they need so that they can get their permits, and they are getting that level of support from a city that really shows to them, we want you here and we want you to stay here. Because we've seen so many of our small businesses relocate to Jefferson Parish just because they feel like it's easier to do business there. And then, as I mentioned before, focusing in other sectors like arts and culture, on the economic side, focusing in on our entrepreneurs, those who have these big ideas, so that their big ideas can stay right here in New Orleans and flourish into new types of businesses and industries. Because the way that you've seen other cities really diversify their economy, and obviously we need to diversify ours away from just tourism, right? Is that they have really focused in and leaned in on assisting those entrepreneurs, because it's like some of these big ideas that they may have, just with some connection with some capital, all of a sudden they turn into multi-million-dollar businesses right there in the city of New Orleans.
All right, and as you do become the CEO of the city of New Orleans, with so much on your plate, how do you stay grounded with family, faith, and community as you lead this city forward?
So my faith is really important to me. Even as I visited churches, many churches along the way during the campaign, I would always find time to go to my church. I'm a member of Our Lady of Guadalupe St. Jude on Rampart, and find time to go to my church. I'm a very prayerful person. I'm one of those people who doesn't just talk to God. When I go to bed at night, I mean, it's all through the day, all through the day. So I'm very faithful, very spiritual. And that's a big part of how I stay grounded. I pray to God every day that he keeps me humble, particularly as I walk into this next role, that he keeps me humble, and that I always prioritize the people of the city, and that my head is always focused on the people of the city, particularly those who are the least seen. And to me, that's really important. But then the other piece too is, I'll tell you this, one of the other things that keeps me really grounded is I love walking. I love walking around the city.
I know I usually see you do that.
You like my, yeah. I love walking around the city. I love animals. I have a little dog, and that always just comforts me. So I love being around animals. There's a couple horse barns that I like to visit, including the NOPD barn, just to be around the animals. And so those are kind of the things that I enjoy. And then, of course, music. I love music. Love music. Just tune out with some music, go see concerts, all that. Those are the things that really kind of keep me grounded. And then, my family is everything. My husband is everything. He is my best friend, my partner. I could not have done this without him. It's always great to know that no matter what's going on at work, you always have someone at home who's got your back fully and loves you no matter what. And so all of those things, I think kind of keep me grounded in my job.
And that's really all you need.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just want to end on this, and I kind of want you to really think about this question. I want you to think back to that 8-year-old little girl moving to the United States from Mexico, not really knowing a word of English. What would you talk to her as the mayor-elect of New Orleans, and what would you tell her?
Wow. So look, when I was 8, when I was a young girl, I mean, it was hard for me. Definitely in school, because I didn't speak English that well. I was bullied. Kids made fun of me, and so I would just tell that little girl, keep your head up, you're going to get it right. Keep doing what your parents told you to, never give up, and always keep moving forward. And when you get knocked down, just get back up. But that little 8-year-old girl had it tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough on that 8-year-old little girl. Probably back then, she was really just trying to survive at that point. And so I would just say, keep your head up, because you're gonna get it done, and you're gonna find your path. That if you just mentally always prepare yourself on victory and that path ahead, even if you get knocked down, there will be a victory.
All right. Well, I do want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interview. I wish you the best of luck. I know you will do well for the city of New Orleans that we all love. Thank you so much. I loved hearing your thoughts. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
I would just say, Chance, hey, congrats on getting the first one-on-one extensive interview with the mayor-elect. Way to go.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment, maybe your thoughts. They better be good. This amazing lady, mayor-elect, great city of New Orleans back. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chance.
We're out.